Today, we are doing a 2-round 2026 NFL mock draft. Let's get right into this. If you guys are new, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Below my face is my board. It is based on all 22 grades exclusively. Players with an asterisk are due to drop with new re-evaluation. If you want to see my full list of over 290 players, full evaluations, and then if you guys like the NFL, which you should, I actually have every single rookie, how they're performing every single week, as well as the stock report videos, which I know you guys love, where I end up breaking down even more players than make the videos. So if you guys want to see all of that, including extended positional ranking videos, as well as some other goodies, feel free to go over to the Patreon. $5 a month. We have an amazing community over there. We are already building up a very solid group of people. And this video actually is a little bit kind of sponsored, or at least affected by one of them. Shout out to Timothy Roberts. He ended up combining reverse win totals, strength of schedule, as well as some other factors in order, like conference, as well as like, it's crazy to build this amazing draft order, because I really wanted to be able to have something a little bit different than Super Bowl odds. Timothy's been on my ass about it in the best way possible, and I appreciate him for it. But let's get into this with the number one pick, which is the Tennessee Titans. A quick little rule: no trades in the 2-rounders. We do a 3-rounder each week with trades as well, and I keep Arch Manning out of it. So, not like he would be in the second round anyways, but if the Titans are number one overall, I think that they're pretty much deciding between Ruben Bain and Jordan Tyson, and with how good the wide receiver class is, it's a no-brainer. Ruben Bain Jr. has been the most effective college player in the entire country. I do think he's a little bit more athletically limited, so I think his ceiling is a little bit more capped, as well as the fact that his arms, I do wonder if they are around 32 inches, but Ruben Bain has been rock solid, reliable this year. Every single game, an absolute nightmare, and it doesn't make it any easier for teams when Akeem Mesidor has also been pretty much in the same exact camp. The Titans need top-tier edge rushing talent, and they're able to snipe it at number one. At number two for the Saints, a very interesting position, because normally Ruben Bain is here, and quarterback absolutely could be on the market, but Spencer Rattler is actually looking like a pretty damn competent quarterback. Now, based on the years left, how especially if you're sitting here at number two, you kind of should be taking as many shots as possible. There's certainly some factors that you need to discuss here, but it's very tough. If you guys did not have like defensive back talent already, I'd probably say Caleb Downs would be able to help you out the most. But with Jonas Sanker in the mix, I don't know how much Caleb Downs as a number two pick would be able to elevate the core. And yes, I know the core is far more than just one player, but I just don't even think with Jonas Sanker that it is elevated enough to justify a number two overall pick. I do think if you guys end up being at number two overall, as exciting as Spencer Rattler's been, you still need to go and take the shot on the best player available. Kubiak's looking like he's able to maximize the offensive talent very, very well. You're seeing Rashid Shaheed get open with his speed. Juwan Johnson has dipped in production as the weeks have progressed. I'm hoping that ends up reversing course, because I know that Kellen Moore loves his tight ends, and I want to see that progress more. But it's Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza at the top right now, depending on which one you want to go after. John Mateer, we'll see if he's able to come back healthy from that hand surgery. He's trying to make a push for this week. I highly advise against it. Do not rush yourself back, because people believe in you as a first-round pick. You end up hurting yourself and setting yourself back. It's going to cause a lot of problems. But I do think Fernando Mendoza still is the top guy, and so we're going to be taking him here for the New Orleans Saints. My QB3 coming into the year, and still my QB3 with John Mateer lurking there at number 8. Number 3, we have the New York Jets. And again, it's another team that easily could be looking for a quarterback. Justin Fields is on a multi-year contract, but that actually makes me feel a lot more comfortable with going after a player as young as Dante Moore. I mean, you think about it, last year, he literally had 7 throws. This year, he's taken a huge step up, but still has like some polish needed, some weight needed to be added. And I do like what Justin has done statistically, but it has not translated to the win column. And Dante Moore, you can sit him behind Justin Fields, and then Justin's not really a super high ego guy based on what I have seen. Definitely seems like a very chill player, and I think he could end up taking that mentorship role pretty well. So we're going to rock it with Dante Moore there at number 3. At number 4 for the New York Giants, especially after seeing an ACL tear. By the way, this is all fresh. This is all going to be recorded live. This is a live mock draft. I'm not a huge fan of doing pre-recorded shit. It's a lot less authentic. You guys don't get to see the logic as clearly. And, again, it doesn't make it as fun for you, doesn't make it as fun for me. So if you guys do see a loop in my logic, by all means, comment about it. I love talking to y'all. But number 4, though, regardless of the Giants, after an ACL tear to Malik Neighbors, I do think we're going to start seeing a bit more exposure on the fact the wide receiver core is very limited. Jordan Tyson's the top tier wide receiver who's a true one. And I've never heard somebody say that, my lobster's too buttery, my steak is too juicy. Why is it a problem to have top tier wide receiver play? Someone's like, oh, you'll have to pay both of them. Well, guess what, fuckface? The cap is going to continue going up, and that's a good problem to have. Worst case scenario, you could tag and trade. All right. That is a good problem to have. Just like I always said, like with Will Johnson, they were talking about, oh, his knee's going to be all shot in like 5 years. That's a problem you're willing to have because the trade-off is that you get a cornerback 1. Just putting that out there, right? Like you have to look at the benefit as well as the potential cost, okay? And Jordan Tyson is going to be the selection there for the Giants. I do think that he will provide, like you could go after, where do they put Fano? Fano at number 18 now. Their board continues to update. Amari Washington? I have not seen this guy. That's going to be a really interesting tape study there. I do know that there's a lot in flux with the PFF big board, so it's exciting to be able to react in real time as well. But the player that I was going to mention is Spencer Fano. Illuminor has been just pretty damn reliable on average. Obviously followed his offensive line coach from the Raiders, and definitely one of those picks that you could go after, but at the same time, I'm not sure if they're willing to invest a number 4 overall pick after I was pretty much guaranteed to go Spencer Fano if I could. At number 5 for the Cleveland Browns, the question is quarterback 3, or do we want to go somewhere else? And quarterback 3 is between Mateer and Sellers. A lot of people love Simpson, and I think he's a super high-floored player. I really do think he's a very good player. Now, people act like this guy's a true freshman. He's been around. He's waited his turn, and I respect that a ton. It's not like somebody who is coming in. I believe he is a redshirt junior. So he's already 23 years old as well. Like we're not talking about somebody who is like right new, fresh on the block. He's just fresh to the field. And that's okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that in any way, shape, or form. But I'm looking at players like John Mateer who have a higher ceiling, Lenore Sellers who have a higher ceiling. And I feel a lot more comfortable with that. And I just think personally, Lenore Sellers is the highest ceiling player in the class. On top of that, Lenore does bring a relative floor with his athleticism that you don't really have on the Browns right now. We'll see how Dylan Gabriel continues to operate. We'll see if Shadur Sanders gets an opportunity. But Lenore definitely seems like somebody, especially based on the fact that he's gotten better and better throughout the year, is somebody who you're willing to take a shot on and somebody who can end up making those progressions over off seasons or in the middle of the year. I prefer to go after the talent rather than just continue being complacent and saying, oh, Shadur's on this team, Dylan Gabriel's on this team. Like, those are mid-round picks. The whole entire point is that they need to be situational starters. If you believe them as a true, full-time starter, most likely you would not have been taking him at the end of the 3rd and in the 5th round. Number 6 for the Miami Dolphins. This is a team that will probably need to blow everything up. I just have to say it. They're in a really bad spot. Now, Jordan Tyson would have been fun at this point, but I think one of the key areas this team needs to continue improving is that offensive line. And it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. And, I mean, Jonas Savania getting straight up 0 grades in 3 out of the 5 weeks. The next lowest was a 10 grade. Like his best week was week 1 ever since he's had zeros and then 10.5 pass blocking grade. It's bad. I think we need to deploy offensive line here. And Spencer Fano brings all the heat. Some people believe he has to play guard. Either way, he's going to be a massive upgrade. You need to go and build through the trenches. I hope to God Chris Greer gets fired. I hate saying that because I don't think, obviously all these people are humans. And I mean, at the same time, they're getting paid really well to be these humans that you're sympathizing for. But, he's just done a very bad job. Like, there's been a lot of mismanagement for a team that was Super Bowl competitive a couple years ago. So we're going to go Spencer Fano here at number 6. Throw a little bit of a curveball, a little bit of a wrench into, monkey wrench into the works. I don't know the exact term. I'm not that old yet. But at number 7, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. And to me, Peter Woods got to be the instant selection here. Caleb Downs absolutely on the menu, but I mean, you can't go wrong with either one. Caleb Downs would be best player available, but Peter Woods, I think, would be the most impactful early run defender. And, again, I just I'm saying all that shit. Geno has pissed me off to a new degree. I continue trying to push it off each week, like believing that Geno could bounce back. As Abraham Lincoln once said, fuck that shit. We're going to go John Mateer. Just for the people who are the family of Abraham Lincoln, I promise that's not an exact quote. Do not sue me for defamation. But at number 8 for the Carolina Panthers, a good decision here. By the way, John Mateer, my number 8 player when healthy. We'll see when he comes back if he's still good. But yeah, I mean, the Geno project is starting to be pretty embarrassing. I know the offensive line is pretty bad, but when your quarterback has memes of like the helmet being put on backwards, there's more truth to that. Like every joke, there's definitely truth to it. And yeah, it's getting pretty embarrassing. But for the Panthers, this is an easy one for me. Caleb Downs, going best player available, a position of need. Like you also have Lathan Ransom, another defensive back from the Ohio State University. Now, Corey Thornton doing a really good job from Louisville. And, Ransom could end up being better and better. So if that continues, maybe you can end up opting out of Caleb Downs, maybe going after Kenyon Sadiq. I just didn't want to go after another quarterback there. I feel like that'd be mismanagement of those picks. But yeah, I mean, going best player available is the smart thing to do. And number 9 for the Cincinnati Bengals, I find it hard to pass on Peter Woods at this point. It's just like too good of value, but there's just so many damn good players. And defensive interior is one that either is going to be taken super high or else has the possibility of slipping. I think this team is desperate for corner talent. And I know that Al Golden loves his corners. I mean, think about how he was at Notre Dame. Why am I forgetting? Leonard Moore, like with Leonard Moore. I would say, though, we could try to be ballsy and try to wait till 41 and get someone a little bit more imposing, like Jermod McCoy, because, again, Jermod's going to have half a season of tape. I don't know how excited teams are going to be for someone like that. I mean, again, I'm not trying to devalue him as a player, but Mansour is physical. I mean, he's not a bad player in any way, shape, or form. This team needs help too on the offensive line. It's you can't go wrong, right? Like right now, we're just saying it's a embarrassment of riches. I think this needs to go to the secondary or to the offensive line. Edge rushers do not fit the physical prototype. Like TJ Parker, a little bit too short, if I'm not mistaken. Like I know that you look back on how you guys have drafted edge rusher at least high. It's a little bit more based off of the athletic traits. I don't think TJ Parker necessarily has that. Keldrick Falk not athletic enough. So, I mean, you're really going to be looking at edge not in the first round, in my opinion. I mean, again, you look at the offensive line. A lot of people like CeCe Mauigoa, but how many times do you see a guard drafted this high? And that's what, I mean, I ended up watching NFL Stock Exchange's most recent mock draft that they did live. And shout out to the boys over there. But they ended up taking him, if I'm not mistaken, super high to the Bengals. And I'm like, I just don't know how realistic that's going to be. I'm going to go Mansour Delane here, though. I mean, the value of a true corner one is almost immeasurable at this point. You're seeing, like, especially even with the Eagles, you're seeing the value of what would be, like, what you don't have with a corner two, let alone a corner one. And that's where the Bengals are kind of struggling right now. Obviously, they have enough issues that they're trying to deal with now, having Joe Flacco at quarterback with the worst offensive line in history. It's just, there's a lot of issues that need to be worked out there, but at least we're going to go best player available, which, I mean, upon reevaluation of Mansour, who is at number 20 on my board right now, obviously players who are destined to drop, but Mansour, destined to also rise, probably going to be in my top 10 to 5. So he was somebody who was my corner one coming into the year. Really happy that ended up coming to fruition. At number 10 for the Cardinals, kind of hard to pass on Peter Woods, but it's just not really a position that they're going to target again, and again. I just don't think that's very realistic. Right tackle could be, but again, Francis Mauigoa has been very good this year. The problem is he still kind of looks like a guard. At the same time, I mean, think about the amount of it. If you're looking for a day one starter, either at guard or tackle that's not going to be phased by NFL talent, think about one that practices every day with Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor. I'm just going to throw that out there. Now, Francis, as a interior offensive lineman, ended up grading out to me being my number 34 player, which is perfectly reasonable. I mean, he's a very good player. I like Caleb Lamu more, but the right tackle spot is just not pretty. It's not looking fantastic right now, and I don't want to force something. So I will go after the more exciting pick that I am excited to continue doing, which is Arvell Reese, linebacker slash edge out of the Ohio State University. Right now, he is at number 11 on my board. Same with PFF. Definitely excited to be able to exercise that because this team needs a Mike linebacker, but also you can increase the pass rushing potential with certain downs that I would love to see Gannon. I mean, so long as he gets his head and ass wired together and doesn't start chewing out DeMercado on the sidelines, like, just going to be honest, time and place. I understand, but, I assume he'll still be there. But I think Arvell Reese would end up being an absolute super weapon for him going forward. At number 11 for the Cowboys, this is the easiest pick in history. We're going Peter Woods, defensive interior out of Clemson. I don't care who else is on the board. At this point, you have to go Peter Woods. Defensive interior is still a very, very big question mark, and Peter Woods is a top-tier player. It's just like, where would I have taken him? You look, the Jets are possible, but went after a quarterback. You look down, the Dolphins, possible. I've done it before, but I do want to prioritize in a very weak offensive line class, offensive line wherever possible. And then the Raiders, but I was like, Geno's pissed me off. And then we got best player available. So there's reasons for him to go earlier, but there's possibilities for him to slip. And especially when he hasn't performed at the statistical rate that he has before, which I'm just going to call out as some complete BS because he's doing a really good job. And that's coming from a guy who's a little bit lower on Peter Woods coming into the year. I think he is far better than the stats say. But for the Bears at number 12, TJ Parker would be awesome, but I mean, shout out to my Bears fans who ended up highlighting Dennis Allen's addiction to 6'5" plus edge rushers on top of it being 260. Keldrick Falk fits that, but if I'm going to be honest, the more I watch Keldrick Falk, the more I feel like he's not a true one. He's more of like a late one build, not exciting, just a really high floor guy. And the Bears are not that desperate for edge. So I want to change some things up at least a little bit. And looking at other areas where the Bears can end up addressing, offensive line is one of them. I mean, right now, Caleb Lamu still is in the mix. He's had a little bit more of a struggle year, but I mean, it was really just versus Texas Tech that they had issues. That left tackle spot could definitely be open for business. We'll see how that ends up panning out. But I mean, there's always that opportunity there. It's a tough spot. I mean, other area I also would like to throw out there is corner. I mean, I hate to say it. We'll see how Tyreek Stevenson continues to improve, but Keith Abney is exciting for me. I mean, it's a dark horse pick because you end up having, of course, your corner one going down for the entire year. And then we'll see how they continue to handle it. But the Bears defense kind of is one that you can pick apart. I know linebackers in there as well. There's a lot of, I mean, we could go Jeremiah Love here, especially with the running backs starting to hit their stride, both literally and metaphorically. It is possible for him to go in this range, and it's not a bad pick at all, but I do feel comfortable in round 2 getting a very, very good option. Like, worst case scenario, round 3, you could go Jadarian Price. So I'm going to go Keith Abney. I will. It's somebody who I have rated identically to Mansour Delane for different reasons. This one's going to be actually much more close to how I like Tyreek Stevenson coming out. And I think Keith Abney would end up being, a superior product to that. He ended up grading higher as well. 13 for the Houston Texans. Woody Marks ended up taking a step back in terms of production. So Jeremiah Love is on the short list of players to go after. But I'm just going to go after the good player here that's going to be reliable. It's going to be Francis CC Mauigoa. You have to go after it if the value is there. And again, he has been so consistent this year, even though he hasn't been perfect. It's just somebody who can end up spot starting at tackle, but also is going to be a high floor guard. 13 is a reasonable range. And of course, they're also the team that took Kenyon Green in the first. So not afraid of going after interior offensive line early, even though that situation, it didn't work out. 14 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You look at quarterback and now you got Cade Klubnik, Garrett Nussmeier, Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson, again, honestly, not a bad option, but this team is seeing what like an upgraded arm could do, and that's not really available. That's something like maybe Taylor Green could provide. Like out of these quarterbacks, there's not too many of them that have that whippy arm, Drew Aller, but Drew Aller, weird case study, man. Very weird case study. If we were to avoid that, which honestly, I think I might still go Ty Simpson. The game manager aspect is not a bad thing. Cornerback's not off the table, but if Keith Abney were here, I would say it's much more on. Weaponry wise, you have some fantastic players here. I mean, how badly would we want Mecca Buka on our team? That's what we could talk about with Carnell Tate. Again, also this class is so damn reliable that you can get one in round 2. So we're going to go wide receiver quarterback combo in these first 2 rounds. And I'm happy to say tackle is not the most desperate position, but I'm going to go after the hot hand here in Ty Simpson, quarterback out of Alabama. He ended up showing out to me early this year, and I really liked how, he has some amazing big time throws. But the thing is, he's getting better and better and better. It's not becoming stagnated. He's becoming better as a processor. Now, there's one play this past week, that touchdown pass, that he's getting a lot of credit for. I will say, timing-wise, I don't think the NFL will give you those type of gimmies, like where it was not a very good sack evasion, and then the guy was wide open in the end zone for a couple seconds. So I'll just put that out there. But at the same time, this does kind of feel very similar, Ty Simpson, to Garrett Nussmeier in terms of the not elite athleticism, but enough. Not elite arm, but enough. Really high level, big time throws. Like, that's just kind of where my head is at. Maybe the timing's been improving, but it's still not there. At 15 for the Los Angeles Rams, we have 2. I'm not used to the Falcons being over here at 15. So again, shout out to my guy, Timothy Roberts, for giving me this draft order. It definitely makes it a lot more exciting to be able to have, like, certain players like Kenyon Sadiq would be traded up for at this point by a team like Washington, or Denver for that matter, or even New England. But regardless, I mean, sitting here with the Rams, right tackle would have been nice. I just don't really see the value. With Lamu having his struggles, it just makes it much harder to sell, if that makes sense. Gooseby ended up having a bad week, which, I mean, you guys know me. If you guys are subscribed to the Patreon, which you guys should be already, end up getting to see all my evaluations, including extended positional rankings videos. But you guys would have seen that I was very, very much out on Trevor Gooseby early, wanting to see a lot more development. And even now, I'm having my struggles. This past week, allowing 5 pressures definitely doesn't make it any better. But we'll see how he performs against the much more talented OU defenders this next week, because those guys are designated pass rushers. They don't have good arm length or anything. But I do think the Rams should be in the cornerback or interior or offensive line realm, and I'm going to roll the dice still on Caleb Lamu. I mean, I got to end up studying his game versus Texas Tech. Just got some all-22 on it, so that will be something I watch tomorrow. But yeah, I think Caleb Lamu, still one of the most reliable offensive linemen in the country. I mean, somebody who's getting hate for allowing 5 pressures all year long, it's a pretty good place to be. At number 16 for the Minnesota Vikings, I mean, not many places that you can necessarily go super wrong. I wish there were a better center in this class because, I mean, with Ryan Kelly, all the concussions he's had, that dude's pretty much toast. But I've been really happy with this pick, and I think I'm going to continue with it. I think I have to, right? But it feels almost like written in stone, which we all know whenever something feels written in stone, it doesn't end up happening. But Colton Hood is just so damn good for this team because of the physicality. He's just under 6 foot. So, I mean, you still qualify for the small aspect of Isaiah Rodgers. Great ball skills. And just somebody who ended up in a short period of time acclimating to a very unique system, different than Colorado. Both systems very good at developing corners. I think you just got to roll with it. So we'll go Colton Hood there for the Vikings. At number 17 for the Denver Broncos, Kenyon Sadiq all day, every day. No conversation. Super weapon. Just very hard to find a team earlier that would be welcoming to him. But he is somebody that is a really solid blocker, a high upside receiver, the perfect joker for Sean Payton. At 18 for the Washington Commanders would have been nice. And of course, Jeremiah Love usually is my selection until Bill ends up becoming an absolute savage and tearing it up this past week, causing me to lose my my game or my matchup versus Trevor Sycamore in fantasy. Trev, you got lucky, bud. But we're going to go after TJ Parker here. I think TJ Parker is extremely underrated at this point. Statistically, maybe not doing a fantastic job. Well, I mean, recently, yes, as of the North Carolina game, but up until underwhelming statistically, but I think he's improved and he's still getting there. I don't think he's fully to the potential where he's at yet, where people were kind of seeing where he would end up being. But I mean, I really, really like how far he's come. He's come up from like 70 all the way up to 41 on my board. You might be like, what? But I mean, you got to realize there's a lot of really good players. And I mean, if you're looking at edge rushers, there's so many little variables that, disqualify certain types for certain teams. So he's pretty much a top 5 edge rusher for every team for me, even at that point. But now it's a lot different. TJ Parker is a fantastic player and he's hitting his stride. And I love seeing that. Number 19 for the New England Patriots. Like weird spot. I'm going to be completely honest. A little bit of a weird spot. Like right tackle wise, because I still want to do it. Isaiah World just looks way too developmental for the first round at this point, unless you have him guaranteed sitting, which is just not what I'm having this team do. Well, I mean, areas of improvement, wide receiver, you could go interior, but I still see guys improving there. Edge rusher, absolutely, but again, like these types of edge rushers, after I saw you go after Kayvon Chason, after going and drafting Braden Swinson, like those guys are the 250 range. You don't need to be going after the 265, 280 plus type of guys. Like that's just not schematically what makes sense. Instead, I'm going to go after Carnell Tate here. Super weapon out of Ohio State. Someone who has gotten better each game. I mean, he took a massive jump for me just in one game this year, and he's gotten better in each game after that. He's showing so many little route running nuances that he never had in his book before. Put Brian Hartline in the Hall of Fame at this point. I mean, legitimately, possibly the best wide receiver coach in all of college football history at this point. I mean, is there many other programs that have this consistent of a hit rate for the NFL? It's kind of crazy. It like legitimately is mind-boggling. I don't like scouting the helmet, but it doesn't mean like when Chris Olave is looked at as the most ass out of all of the recent wide receivers going to the NFL, that's crazy. And Carnell Tate looks to be continuing that. I remember that draft, actually. I was addicted to Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave to the Patriots. So it's funny seeing this kind of come full circle with going after Carnell Tate. And number 20 for the Cleveland Browns. Weaponry is super duper key. Lenore Sellers with that first pick. It's offensive line or it's going to be wide receiver. And again, I just don't see Caleb Tiernan being viewed as highly as maybe I want him to be. So I'm not going to force that. That's just not how I roll. And so we're going to be going wide receiver here. Mekhi Lemon's a great option, but I do want to get somebody who could end up being a true one on this team because I think it lacks that identity. I know Tillman should have ended up being that, but just hasn't. We're going to go Denzel Boston here, wide receiver out of Washington. I think he's going to be very similar to what Tetairoa McMillan is to the Panthers, a very reliable option. Maybe not the flashiest player in history, but again, reliability is super duper crucial for a team that's looking for at least something to go right. At number 21 for the Baltimore Ravens, I am tempted to go Jeremiah Love. Like, you can't let Justice Hill be, I mean, you can't have that be your future at running back. I mean, corner, it's so easy to go Avion Terrell, but this team, they just traded away Odafe Owe. Fuck. I mean, what are y'all doing? I need to hear from y'all on that, as a matter of fact. And I know your run defense is already ass, so going after David Bailey, who is more suited for the pass rushing, I still think he's good as a run defender, but more suited as the pass rush, I don't know if that solves very much. And it doesn't hurt. Like, Keldrick Falk doesn't fit that edge build. LT Overton wouldn't fit the edge build. So, like, Joshua Josephs is a perfect option for y'all because a little bit undersized, but still a very physical player, 35-inch arms. I'm not talking at 21. I'm talking at 53. Part of me is thinking that's what we need to do. We just need to pray to God that we could end up getting someone. Clev's been a baller too, Clev Lubin. I'm excited to get some defensive tape on him. Has not happened yet, but of course I'll also get the eye test in November. So, I mean, you bet your ass I'm going to be locking in on Clev when he ends up coming to town here in Dallas. But I think we need to pass on edge early just because the value and the archetype of edge just do not line up. So it's corner or it's best player available, which is Jeremiah Love. Christian Miller as well, but Christian is just so unreliable in terms of the consistency. It freaks me out. Cade McDonald, another really good option, but I'm going to go with it. We're going to go Jeremiah Love. I mean, yes, you have Derrick Henry that you like to give the ball a lot, but Derrick Henry is getting old and you need lightning and thunder. I mean, how much more can you give to Derrick Henry? And I don't really think you have a great backup running back core. With Jeremiah Love here, a lot of people believe in him as a top 15 to 10 pick. The value's right. And this team is a run-first style team that should be letting Lamar not have to carry the team all the damn time. So Jeremiah Love going to bring a little bit more comfort to that offense. And number 22 for the Seattle Seahawks. Boundary corner 2, not a bad spot to target here. Avion Terrell could end up absolutely being that. He has the feistiness. He'd work very well in a McDonald's system. I'm kind of open to that. Wide receiver with Mekhi Lemon sounds actually pretty intriguing, but I do know that I could wait till round 2 and be able to play a little bit with house money over there. Linebacker wise, it is not out of the question with Sonny Styles this past week. The lowest grade defender on the team was Ernest Jones, and outside of him, not much going that's amazingly well. Honestly, let's throw the curveball, man. I mean, it's so good to test out some new theories. We're going to go Sonny Styles, linebacker at The Ohio State University. I mean, think about a thumper right there who also kind of moves like a safety, but is just super reliable versus the run. Just a damn good player there. Sonny Styles, linebacker at The Ohio State University. 23 for the Buccaneers. Just go wide receiver again. Mekhi Lemon, best player available. No. I mean, they're in a very good spot. They're just drafting best player available, and it's working. Sonny Styles would have probably been my selection there. David Bailey's just a guy I love for this team, but I am starting to believe that maybe we can end up getting some better value at a different time. I wish we could end up getting Kenyon Sadiq here. Not the option. But, I mean, offensively, I don't see there being a position that's really necessary. So maybe we do need to look at edge because I'm not going a third linebacker in the first. I'm just not doing that. And I mean, I do think David Bailey at this point would make a lot of sense. This is somebody I've been locked in on Bailey for this team. Whether he ends up being a linebacker or an edge, that's up for debate. I think he's an edge. I've seen him at both. I liked him more at edge, but he also has the flexibility to do both, and I like that. Give it to Todd Bowles and kind of just see what happens. So we're going after David Bailey. 11 pressures this past week, along with a pair of sacks. So really good performance by David Bailey. Gets him back into a little bit more comfortable spot in the first. At 24 for the Los Angeles Rams, first pick, Caleb Lamu. Second pick, again, you could talk about the quarterbacks here, Garrett Nussmeier, yada, yada. I'm going to do the best for the team. I'm going to go after someone who could be an enforcer on the defense. That's Avion Terrell. Even though he's small, he is mighty. He's had multiple forced fumbles this year as well, if I'm not mistaken. I know he has at least one, but he's actually been he started off the year as well with a forced fumble. This guy's been a little bit peanut punchy. Very excited to see what Avion Terrell can do in the league. At number 25 for the Indianapolis Colts, edge rusher is the place where I go, and Lou Amarino's defense. Remember how I've been saying, oh, these guys don't fit. These guys don't really fit. Welcome to the spot where they fit. These guys are great for Lou. LT Overton, Keldrick Folk. And, LT, he's actually closer to 6'3", 6'2", but young, explosive, dynamic. Especially with the amount of guys who are going to be up for contract. I think this is the right move. Keldrick Folk, I think the fact he's used on the interior more often than LT, at least that I see, I get a little bit more worried about Keldrick. We're going to go after LT Overton there, edge rusher out of Alabama. But it doesn't matter because for the Chiefs, running back early and often, people say, but Jeremiah Love's not available. We're going to go Keldrick Folk. I mean, it's just, you got to do what you got to do. This team needs a little bit more firepower. And even though he might not be the splash pick, you need to continue getting reliability, all right? You can continue taking DPRs down the line, but you need some sort of formidable front, and right now they don't really have that. At 27 for the San Francisco 49ers, one of those teams that I do think the offensive line route is a very smart way to go. Connor Colby's been playing, and it pisses me off. He's been playing guard, though. Because like I would look at like Jake Slaughter. Well, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't look at not Jake Slaughter. I ended up reading that as Connor Liu, which is surprising that they'd boost up Jake Slaughter before Connor Liu. But Connor Liu, Parker Brailsford, like if you want to get those guys. But Emmanuel Pregnon, I am shocked. I'm genuinely shocked PFF has him rated there. I don't think they've updated his grade. I'm like 99.999% sure that is not an updated grade because this dude has been lights out and he has tackle potential. All right. Like he moves like a tackle. He's a little bit weird. He's a weird build. I'm going to throw a fucking dart out there. I think this guy's a first round pick. He's a great athlete, unbelievably strong, and has tackle upside. I think, no. I mean, that's the way I want to go, but I'd rather just go after a tackle at this point, Isaiah World, and then train him up and use Isaiah at guard because he's listed 6'8", but he's around like 6'5" to 6'6". We're going to do that. But, do I want to do that? Do I want to stamp my approval on Emmanuel Pregnon right now? But Isaiah World going to be the selection there for the Niners. Again, you can use him at guard in the short run based on his height. Listed 6'8", actual height under 6'6". But you got to do what you got to do. At number 28 for the Detroit Lions, I mean, Connor Liu just feels like the option for him. There's not really, by pick 60, we're going to take all those centers. You just got to do what you got to do. That's like the phrase of the day. Got to do what you got to, no, you got to Liu what you got to do. How about that? Connor Liu, very solid center. I mean, again, end up allowing 2 sacks versus A&M, but sometimes you do have one of those games where it's just like a big whoopsie. You always got to have a mulligan sometime in there. I want to see how he bounces back this next week. 29 for the Los Angeles Chargers, equipped now with an actual edge rushing talent. Hallelujah. It's raining men. Hopefully not. But this is also a team that would be looking into that Connor Liu range. Like wide receiver wise, because I'm like looking at Mekhi Lemon. I love Mekhi Lemon. It's just very hard to find a team to take Mekhi Lemon right now. Like, I mean, interior offensive line is they need help. They need help. They need a lot of help. Like, could this be where I look at Pregnon, Parker, Brailsford? Brailsford's just going to be so undersized that it doesn't make very much sense. They kind of are Frankensteining their corner core right now. Not out of the realm of possibility to be looking at corner. Granted, again, this corner class is not very good. Like, just going to put that out there. I mean, AJ Harris, not a fan. But Lohi Gilman just got sent to the Ravens. And I know that's, not the craziest thing on planet Earth. But Dylan Thieneman is here. And I think I'm just going to go best player available. Please correct me if you guys strongly believe that upgrading a defensive back is not a good move. But he's a player who's still top 10 for me. And he's somebody who I think would end up being a great replacement in there. And pairing up Thieneman with James is just like, to me, that's just like finger looking good, eating those W's. Like that just feels right to me. Let me know if you guys feel really confident about the other options that you have. At 30 for the Cowboys, their first pick was Peter Woods. Pick number 30, we could try to go and, draft Deny Dennis Sutton, Mateo Uiagalelei. But honestly, I think Mekhi Lemon's too good to pass on. I mean, he's somebody who, to me, is a clear wide receiver 3. He might be wide receiver 2. Chris Bell, also in the mix, but I do think level of competition, he hasn't been carrying his team. He still has. I mean, this past week ended up having 170 yards, 2 touchdowns. But, you're spoiled for choice here. At 43, you could end up still probably getting a Chris Bell. But I just know there's a wide receiver run coming, and I'm not going to allow it to pass up. Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver to USC, has been unreal this year. I mean, he's just been dominating even as a contested catch threat. It's so weird how he's developed his game even more than he already had. At 31 for the Philadelphia Eagles, we'll see how they end up approaching this offseason. But with Christian Miller here, sometimes you just got to take the upside. With Moro Jomo and also Jordan Davis coming up on contract extensions, or not having contract extensions, but they're contract expiring. Definitely the route that I'm thinking about going here. Like, I just think the value is too good for him. Like, the upside, his wins are just like, holy shit. Like, it reminded me, like, the last time I felt like that with the Georgia interior, it was Jalen Carter. Granted, that was only a couple years ago, but I'm not saying that's what Christian Miller is, but he is still my number 13 player, with me being pissed off at how inconsistent he is. At number 32 for the Buffalo Bills, and ending off the first round, Edge rusher, you could try to look at this point because you got Mateo Uiagalelei, you have Denai Dennis Sutton, like not very bad options at all. Like not bad. I mean, the problem is the defense for Penn State ended up being a big problem for them. They ended up not doing too well, but Mateo is doing a great job overall. My problem is that run stop rate. I wasn't a huge fan of him in the first place, but I do think he's still a little bit one-dimensional. I would say that the better option would be deny Dennis Sutton for this team in the long haul. It's probably the route I'm going to go. Like, I don't know about this Amari Washington guy. Why? I've never seen that. I've never heard them talk about him. Granted, I didn't stay for the whole video, but holy Toledo, like I feel outdated. I've not seen a single person bring that guy up. So if you guys, Oregon fans, talk about him, but I have not even seen a single post about him. And I'm on Twitter way too much. I'm going to go deny Dennis Sutton here, though. I mean, he's just been consistently one of those talents that's a late first. And, especially with the situation, the amount of edge rushers up for contract and such, it makes sense. At number 33 for the Tennessee Titans, first pick, Ruben Bain. And that's why I like taking Ruben Bain there. O-line and cornerback are their top needs. I disagree. I'm looking at the receiving core right now, and I know that the only issue with me taking KC Concepcion to this team, because I love KC at this point. I mean, KC is lurking at 25 on my big board. Like, really loving what he's doing. Is the return ability is kind of wasted. And I feel bad to do that to KC Concepcion and the team he's going to, because you have a really good returner right now in Chim DK. So I'm going to go after my next best receiver, which is technically better than KC, in my opinion. Chris Bell, wide receiver out of Louisville, 6'2", 220, hauls ass 4'4", might be sub 4'4", and he's just been carrying that Louisville team, like carrying them. This past week, Miller Moss, ended up having, I believe, 4 or 5 turnover-worthy plays. Chris Bell ended up still just absolutely annihilating in terms of the production game with 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. So one of the main reasons they remained competitive in that game. 34 for the New Orleans Saints. First pick, Fernando Mendoza. Here at number 34, I mean, it's very likely that you can end up going after Mateo Uiagalelei. Guys, for you guys who are wondering, why not Cassius Howell? Why not R. Mason Thomas? These guys have sub 32-inch arms. For Cassius, it's sub 31. A little bit scary there. Romello, a designated pass rusher. Joshua Josephs, 240 pounds. Like, Mateo's the next guy, but again, very, very limited in terms of how he can end up playing the run. Anthony Lucas, in terms of true pass rush win rate, is one of the best in the country. I don't know what the hell happened versus in Illinois, because that just shocks me, because that was one of those teams that should have ended up having success against. But I mean, you got guys like Zion Young here, Clev Lubin. I mean, again, Clev has been statistically ridiculous. But Zion Young as well, a very good edge rusher. But you can't go wrong, in my opinion. I do think that we got blend realism with what I want to do, and I think Mateo Uiagalelei makes a lot of sense for this team to just get a high-level pass rusher there with that size that I know that they like. At number 35 for the New York Jets, took Dante Moore in the first. Here in the second, wide receiver, certainly on the board with KC Concepcion. I know that it's a little bit too close in terms of the role of Garrett Wilson, but there's just a certain point where who cares? There's just a certain point where you just have to get, talent is talent. You don't have to basically say, oh, we don't want to have too much overlap there, because, again, at a certain point, you need to just continue drafting good players. And KC is worth it at this point. KC Concepcion, wide receiver at Texas A&M, going to the Jets. Staying in New York, number 36, excuse me. The New York Giants took Jordan Tyson, round number 1. Speaking of wide receivers, I do think corner is probably the smartest move at this point. You got Jermont McCoy, A.J. Harris. Very hard to pass up on those two. Thaddeus Dixon, a super dark horse candidate, but did have a bit of a struggle bus week versus Clemson, as did the majority of that team. Dave Zigbinosin, that round 3 target. Same thing with Domani Jackson. I'm going to go after Jermont McCoy because, again, we're going to see if they end up evaluating injury the same way, but going after a player and watching the Eagles end up developing their secondary with 2 players that were listed on the Giants board as injury concern, probably should teach them a lesson that if you have an issue, sometimes fixing it rather than just trying to be big braining it is the smarter thing to do. You guys are wondering how I know that. Just go and look up on their Hard Knocks. They accidentally leaked their board, and not their board, but the draft thing, the whole entire draft. And they had it color coded, and red was for injury concern, if I'm not mistaken. And Quinion as well as Cooper were both on it. 37, Cleveland Browns. First 2 picks, Sellers and Boston. Good dynamic duo. We need to look at the offensive line. And, honestly, pretty good choices at this point. Caden Proctor is the freak. I don't think this team has the luxury of that. Then you got to go higher floor. Caleb Tiernan, probably the next best. Like, Goosby's here, but again, Goosby ended up having some struggles. He's been playing cupcake teams since week 1. And Ohio State did not have any synergy week 1 because it's a whole new group of edge rushers. This is the problem with this class. The big problem. Tackles are impossible to find. I love Chris Adams. Got to give him a shout. He's a guard. He's listed 277, but official weight is actually 300. But still, like somebody that he's going to be a really, really, really good guard for a team that's looking for it. Honestly, I could take it at the next pick too if I just wanted to say fuck it. But the Browns, I'm going to go Caleb Tiernan. I mean, just build up the offense at this point. I know defensive back could be possible, but you got to do it. You got to get better value offensive line. Even if he has to play guard, I know he's tall. He's close to 6'8", but you just have to go after best player available. At number 38, the Dolphins end up going Spencer Fano in round 1. Quarterback could be on the board here in round 2 with Garrett Nussmeier. Could have ended up going with him for the Saints, but we took a quarterback earlier as well. Garrett Nussmeier actually does have the potential to be something really awesome. And this is where you can end up taking him without feeling guilty. So we're going to get our guilty pleasure here and Garrett Nussmeier. At 39 for the Vegas Raiders, they took John Mateer in round number 1. Here in round number 2, could talk about Caleb Banks. Again, big injury red flags this year. On top of that, very underdeveloped coming into the year. Right tackle, 100% on the mind. But, I mean, I don't trust him developing Caden Proctor. Like Goosby, again, also a ton of development. His feet are so bad. Why is nobody talking about that? Emil Wagner actually gives me more faith than more than most of these guys on this list, if I'm just being honest. Xavier Chaplin, horrible year. Austin Barber got his ass kicked versus Miami and versus Texas for that matter. Like he's been on a bad streak. Jennings Dunker, interior offensive line, right? Like it's a bad tackle class, y'all. It's a very bad tackle class. And this is a team that needs the tackle class to be good. That's why I trade up with them. I try my best to do that because they need it. But defensive interior-wise outside of that, Caden McDonald actually might be the choice I have here. Dominic Orange has been dealing with some health concerns injury-wise, and he has not been remotely as good. I think it's pretty clear that Caden McDonald health-wise has been the most reliable, and he's been just very, very consistent. So we're going to go Caden McDonald, defensive interior out of the Ohio State University there at 39. Also a younger player, first year fully starting. At number 40 for the Carolina Panthers, first pick, Caleb Downs. Again, you could go after quarterback here because you do have Beck, you have Klubnik, you have Aller, you have on top of that Sawyer Robertson and all that, but it might be another reason why you could wait. Looking at the options here, let's weigh that out first. I do think wide receiver is on the market. Jeremy Bernard, CJ Daniels are my next best. Antonio Williams in that bunch. Like Nick Harbor, of course, could keep him in South Carolina and, see how, or not South Carolina, excuse me, because you guys are in North Carolina. Keep him in the Carolinas. But that didn't really work the last time. I don't know if you want to test that out again, but certainly something you could do. I do think you got to go the quarterback route at this point, though. At 40, I think it's the best move. Edge rushing has improved noticeably on your team. Nick Scorton doing a fantastic job. Linebacker, Anthony Hill could be a beast, but I feel like that's just two low value positions. Especially if you guys are sitting, pick number 8. I think we're agreeing that Bryce Project needs at least some motivation to do better. The very minimum, which could mean 3rd round. But I do still really like Cade Klubnik. And I think he's a very underrated quarterback. That's coming from a guy who really did not like him coming into the year. So Cade Klubnik going at number 40. 41, Cincinnati Bengals. First pick, Mansour Delane. Second pick, we need to go offensive line desperately. And Jennings Dunker does kind of feel like just a really intriguing option, but I want to go after someone who's an absolute plug. And that's going to be Vega Ione here, guard out of Penn State. This guy's just been rock solid, reliable. Plug and forget. Just plug and forget. That's something this team has not been able to do. 42, Arizona Cardinals. Arvell Reese in round number 1. I like getting them weaponry here in round 2, but again, want to just test the water out. Like, you guys don't realize how badly I want to go after offensive line for these teams, but the value is just not there. Of course, we could have ended up somehow with Anthony Hill Jr. Did not end up getting that pleasure this time. Wide receiver still is definitely on the market, and we do want some return ability. Maybe that means Zachariah Branch later on would be a better option. I'm not a huge fan of actually the picks here for this team. Not a fan of it at all. Honestly, running back's not a bad pick. I mean, with James Conner out for the year, he's not a spring chicken either. I'm actually looking at Jonah Coleman here. I like the idea of Jonah Coleman, and then see if Trey Benson can end up being more of that home run hitting back. We're going to go Jonah Coleman at number 42. 43 for the Dallas Cowboys. First 2 picks, Peter Woods, Mekhi Lemon. Here at pick number 43, definitely could be looking at that edge rusher group, but actually Zion Young is perfect for this team. They like their 260 plus, and he is right there on the money. He's been fantastic this year. Excited to get some all 22 on Missouri tape, but I mean, I've watched the normal game footage, and this dude has been rocking it out. And number 44 for the Chicago Bears, it would have been great to get Zion Young, but we got Keith Abney in the first. I do think we need to get some sort of firepower here in the second. I'm going to roll the dice on my guy, Damon Claiborne. I'm excited to see him. Oh, he already played. For some reason, I thought he got hurt in overtime versus Georgia Tech. Did they already play Virginia Tech or some shit? I might be tripping balls. I'm just going to be completely honest. I think I might be tripping balls. Might be a full week behind because I remember talking to Brosh about it. Yeah, I'm a week behind. But Damon Claiborne has been fantastic overall. 7.5 yards per carry, by the way. Ended up lighting it up in the most important game, in my opinion, which is versus Georgia Tech. Ended up being hurt in their overtime scrimmage area. But we're going to go Damon Claiborne, running back out of Wake Forest at number 44. 45 for the Texans. CeCe Maui in the first. This is also another team that could be looking at running back. I am not going to do that here. I will end up instead still looking potentially at the offensive line, but I do still want to take a shot on the defensive line because the value is too good for Caleb Banks. Again, injury question marks, but ceiling-wise, 35-plus inch arms and just pure dominance when everything goes right. You sometimes have to take a shot on that. So at number 46 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, first pick, Ty Simpson. Here at number 46, we could go corner. There's A.J. Harris here. I'm not a big A.J. Harris guy. Not a fan. Domani Jackson's had some struggles. He has. He got cooked versus Georgia. But, still somebody that could be a good option for us on the boundary. Again, honestly, I would just probably try to wait a little bit. I do think another wide receiver is right up our alley. And the way that we can end up improving is just getting Ty Simpson someone he's comfortable with. And Jeremy Bernard's been fantastic this year with him. Let's get some chemistry there. He's the best wide receiver 3/2 that you can ask for. What's the problem with getting Ty Simpson some comfortability off the bat with Jeremy Bernard coming in? At 47 for the Atlanta Falcons, first pick, not because it had JPJ on it. But at number 47, I'm surprised they put wide receiver tackle as their top needs. I'm still looking at that corner room. Chris Johnson, I'm so excited this guy's getting this type of love. I tossed him in my last 3-rounder. I do not have San Diego State all 22. Malik Muhammad, need him to get healthy, but he ended up looking pretty good during the season when he was playing so far. DJ McKinney's been ass. So bad. It sucks because I really liked DJ McKinney last year. Was a little bit more afraid of him this year, but yeah, it's just weird spot. Not a fan of this corner class. And you guys know me. I love my corners. I love them to death. Let's look at the options here. So far, Kyle Pitts has been doing a much better job at tight end. I do really want to go after cornerback for this team. Defensive interior is not a bad position to target, though. You could go after Big Dom Orange here. I always go center, by the way, so that's why I'm trying to avoid that. I might go Big Dom Orange. He's been dealing with some health concerns, but He is a very, very good defensive interior. And the second round, it's quality value for a quality player. Let me know what you guys think. Brandon Cleveland's actually been really good too. He's 6'4", 315. Lee Hunter. I keep forgetting about my guy Lee Hunter here. Lee Hunter is a baller. I love this guy so much. I mean, just reliable, good on the run stuffs as well. He's 330 too. Like he's 330 at 6'4". I'm going to go Lee Hunter. I don't know why. I think PFF hasn't graded him yet. We're going to go after just quality talent there with Lee Hunter because the thing is he can plug the nose, but he also has the flexibility and more athleticism than Dom Orange to play other defensive interior positions. At 48 for the Vikings, first pick, Colton Hood. Second pick, we're going center. I'm not a Jake Slaughter guy. I'm sorry. I just don't see it just yet. And I saw it a couple years ago. So maybe I'm just wrong, but I'm looking at Parker Brailsford, and I think he's so much better. He's 290, but he's up from 270, and the guy is an absolute workhorse, extremely strong core. Might end up falling to third because he's sub 300, but I mean he doesn't play like he plays like he's bigger than 300 pounds. At 49 for the Broncos, would have been my pick with Parker Brailsford, but their first pick is Kenyon Sadiq. With this pick, this is also honestly kind of an easy one too. I'm running to the podium for Anthony Hill Jr., linebacker out of Texas. They needed some extra linebacker support. It makes sense. Has the coverage ability as well when he wants to. We'll see if that ends up coming to fruition. At 50 for the Texans, CeCe Marigoa, Caleb Banks, developing through the trenches. Running back certainly is available right now. Jadarian Price, and then please end up saying that you guys put him in. Where is my UTSA back? Robert Henry. You motherfuckers. Did not put him in there. But Jadarian Price is the second most likely. This dude has been such a good RB2. But he does kind of feel a little bit of overlap there with what you guys already have with Woody Marks. I honestly might just double up on the offensive line. I might just rock Caden Proctor and then just see how it goes with CeCe Marigo on the inside. I don't think that's realistic, though. I feel like that's pretty unfair to do something like that. Other positions, honestly, linebacker's not out of the question. I don't know how much longer you're able to have Azeez Al-Shaair continue being an absolute dirty-ass player. Just going to put that out there. I do not like him. This linebacker class is actually really good, too. Like, I'm looking at Jay Golday. This is the guy who I think I'm going to take here. He's somebody who has great athleticism at 240, good coverage instincts. We're going to rock it. Jay Golday, number 50. 51 for the New England Patriots, first pick, Carnell Tate. Again, I might roll the dice on Caden Proctor and see if he can work at right tackle, but this is also not a team that you want to do a lot of research and development with. Same thing with Trevor Gooseby. Again, that right tackle spot for a lot of teams is wide open, and I just don't think it's a good move. But edge rusher, there's a lot of very good options as well. You're looking in that 250 range, and Clev is absolutely on the board for me right now. So Clev Lubin, edge rusher out of Louisville, 24% pass rush win rate, 10.5 run stop rate. Dude's been an absolute menace. I don't think I could pass up on that. We're going to go Clev here. I think I've done that the past couple times. Linebacker with Whit Weeks is the other position I like to go, but I want to start boosting some players who have been actually legitimately performing at a very high level. And Clev has gone up against not ass offensive lines. I mean, Bowling Green, not the best, but again, a team that actually recruits pretty well for its size. Pitt and then Virginia, both teams that they're not shabby. At number 52, though, for the Jacksonville Jaguars, ended up getting a pretty damn awesome win. And I know that you guys actually are having Jonah Monheim take reps, which is scary but fantastic. Travis Hunter is doing both sides. Love that. But I'm going to roll the dice on someone who I really, really love. And I was mentioning him earlier as a potential first. It's Emmanuel Pregnon, 6'5", 320. I think he has like 34.25-inch arms as well. I think he has tackle upside, but physical, dominant, and he's just reliable. So we're going to go after Emmanuel Pregnon. Again, one pressure throughout this entire year. No one's talking about this guy. Just know the name. Get ahead. Emmanuel Pregnon. 53, Baltimore Ravens. Jeremiah Love in the first, going to cause a lot of feathers to have been ruffled. I understand. I love you anyways. We're going to go Joshua Josephs. I talked about it earlier. He's a little bit more of their physical build at that 240. I think by draft time, he'll be at 245. But he's actually very, very physical. He is going to be a much more effective run defender than I think people will give him credit for. And especially with Odafe Owe leaving, we need to get as much talent as possible out there. Joshua Joseph's the option. 54 for the Seahawks. Sonny Styles, round 1. Loving it. Here in round 2, I do want to continue getting some speed downfield. Could go Chris Brazzell. I mean, he would fit a Kubiak system ridiculously well. Like, he is a Kubiak style receiver. Like, burner. That's actually such a good fit. Holy shit. It's like, it feels too good to be true. Sonny Styles, Chris Brazzell. I'm still not sold myself, but in terms of the fit, it just works. In terms of the vision, it works. So I'm going to go after him there for the Seahawks. At 55 for the Buccaneers. First pick, David Bailey. Very happy with that. And then here in round 2, please say they ended up putting in, I highly doubt it based on this order. I really want to see them put the Notre Dame tight end in. Of course, they did not. Eli Raritan, my king. Definitely somebody I would consider for this, but I am still on that linebacker route. It's a very good linebacker class. You got Rodriguez, but I am just a sucker for Whit Weeks. You can pair him up with David Bailey, who again am having him be an edge rusher. Whit Weeks, the true linebacker there. 56 for the Rams. First pick, Caleb Lamu. Second pick, Avion Terrell. Third pick, I honestly think that you can go after Drew Aller at this point and just train him up for a year. The talent is too good. The guy ended up playing actually quite well versus UCLA. It was not his fault. So we're going to show him some love here and take him there in the second to the spot that would train him the best. 57 for the Indianapolis Colts took LT Overton in round number 1. I know you guys are clamoring for a corner as well. Like, I'm still a sucker for Iggy. I really like it, Davison Igbinosun, but it's just not a good class, y'all. It's just not. I mean, AJ Harris would be the guy who's the most likely, but I also am looking at the linebacking core again. I mean, there's just so many good ones. A lot of people like Terrain York. I'm not there, but there's CJ Allen. There's Harold Perkins, but there's Kyle Lewis. I mean, I freaking love Kyle Lewis. He's my linebacker too, just undersized. The player I'm also looking at, though, is Jacob Rodriguez, senior, but he's 6'1", 235, ridiculously athletic. Or, excuse me, not ridiculous. I mean, I actually haven't seen him in all 22, so TBD on that. But ridiculously effective, both as a run defender and in coverage. This guy pops off. He passed the eye test. I did not even know who this guy was. And then I'm like, who is this Rodriguez kid? That, to me, is a baller. We're going to go Jacob Rodriguez there. This is it's crazy to say a good linebacker class, but it's a good linebacker class. 58 for the Chiefs. First round, Keldrick Falk. Second round, I honestly think Brashard Smith could end up taking a much bigger role. And I think he should. Justice Haynes has been fantastic this year. Another player that probably would be a good fit there in Kansas City. Honestly, I like it. Let's go Justice Haynes. Somebody who took a big step up from Alabama. I did not expect that, but ended up doing a good job there. 59 for the San Francisco 49ers. Isaiah World in the first round. I'm still going to go interior offensive line, and it's Jennings Dunker. I mean, physical player to play center for the long haul. I mean, you could just go Caden Proctor and just double it up and just put one of them to center. But, I mean, you literally could. Marcus Siegel's been kind of ass. I know people were saying, oh, he's flashed. But this past week, allowing 168 yards is kind of unacceptable. I mean, taking a second-round safety does just guarantee that that guy has no chance. But at the same time, it was pretty bad. We're going to go Zaki Wheatley here. You went to Penn State one time for a defensive back on day 2. You're doing it again. This is a true first-round quality safety. At number 60 for the Detroit Lions, corner is an arguably huge position to address for this team, which is wild. Absolutely wild to me. I'm going to do it. We're going to go A.J. Harris, cornerback out of Penn State. Just, again, looked at very, very highly. I'm not a big fan of him, but I'm not really going to focus too much on that. Again, I blend my board with realism here, and a lot of people think A.J. Harris is a first-round pick. I don't, so ends up coming here in the second round. But a team that just definitely feels a little bit more against the future of their cornerback core. We'll see about Terrion Arnold. It breaks my heart. I love Terrion Arnold. Instantly, when he got taken to the Lions, I was like, fuck, part of me just does not think that's a good system for him. And It is not. 61 for the Chargers. Went Dylan Thieneman in the first round, and Jennings Dunker to play center is just right on the money. I mean, he's a wrestler. He's built for the run. And I have no idea how he posts only 4 pressures on the year because he's not good as a tackle, but very, very solid overall in that realm as well. 62, Green Bay Packers, first round with Micah Parsons. Here in round 2, I'm actually going to look at D'Angelo Velcro Pons. I think I've done this a couple times now for him, and I think that is just perfect. They've been able to work with more of the slot style on the boundary, and that's exactly what D'Angelo Pons brings. He's undersized, but the dude is just ridiculously physical at that size. You'd think that he's 6'1", 200, but he's 5'9", 175, and I think that's worth taking the shot on. At 63 for the Eagles, round 1, Christian Miller. Here in round 2, I'm actually starting to think about rolling the dice on Chris Johnson because super high zone coverage grade, but on top of that, he is also built perfectly at 6'1", 195, if I'm not mistaken. 6 foot, 195, excuse me. A lot of people really loving him. Again, I'm very, very passionate about my corners. Have not had San Diego State all 22, but when I do, I promise you, I'm going to be digging into this guy instantly because what I've seen in terms of clips is awesome. And this team needs to get a true corner too. Chris Johnson, the selection there. And number 64, and ending off this mock draft, we have the Buffalo Bills. Round 1, Deny Dennis Sutton. Here in round 2, not defensive interior dingus. I would look at safety. Keon Saab coming off a red-hot week versus Vanderbilt, doing a great job in that aspect. But also Kamari Ramsey, AJ Halsey. AJ Halsey's been great too. I mean, what a pickup for LSU from Houston. Fantastic players all around. I mean, Bray Hubbard as well. But I want to go for something a little bit more stylish. I want to go after Nick Harbor here, wide receiver out of South Carolina. Probably will end up going back to school, but just much more one-dimensional to where I don't think he'd be going much earlier than this. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, he's so athletically gifted, he won't go. He can't fall or out of the first round. And it's good players, there's good talent everywhere. And especially in this wide receiver class, I think it can happen. But for the Bills, getting someone who could be an absolute burner to actually run those clear outs makes a little more sense. But thank you for watching. Showing the love you always do. I'll see you later. Peace.